Okay, if you are in 7 Excel, we're working from the Advanced 2 textbook. If you are in Math 8, we're working from the Course 3 textbook. We are doing lesson 4.1, example 3, and it can be found on page 145. So we are used to seeing linear equations in this format, where y is already isolated. We have an x and a y, but we're used to seeing it in this format where y is already isolated. And we know that we create a table. We get to pick our x's, a positive, a 0, and a negative. That determines our y. It gives us 3 points, and we graph it, right? Well, today, you're going to see problems that look like this. Y minus 3x equals 1. This is not in the same format as this. Look at where your equal signs are. Here, y is isolated. Y is by itself. Here, y is not isolated. So we need to rearrange these terms so that y is isolated, so that y is by itself. And we know how to do that. So y minus 3x equals 1. How do I get rid of negative 3x? Right, I'm going to use inverse operations. The inverse of negative 3x is positive 3x. And what I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. Good job. Okay, so these guys cancel. Y equals, and if I'm going to keep it in the same format, my x comes before the constant. So 3x plus 1. This is now set up in a format that I can use. So let's take a look at one more of those. What happens if I have y plus 2x equals 3? Y plus 2x equals 3. I need to rearrange these terms so that my y is isolated, so that y is by itself. So I'm going to use the inverse of positive 2x, which is negative 2x. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. These guys cancel, and I've got y equals negative 2x plus 3. This is now in a format that I know how to use. So you're going to see some problems like that today. Okay, we also have word problems today. So let's take a look at the example they've given us in the book. Okay, the wind speed y in miles per hour. So y is miles per hour of a tropical storm is y equals 2x plus 66. Well, this equation is in a format we know how to use. That's nice. Where x is the number of hours after the storm enters the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, that's a lot of words. Graph the equation. And when does the storm become a hurricane? So if we take a look right here, a tropical storm becomes a hurricane when wind speeds are at least 74 miles per hour. So we need to take all of these words and turn them into an equation, something that we can work with. So the problem is giving us the equation. The problem is giving us the linear equation y equals 2x plus 66. And they're telling us that y is miles per hour and x is the number of hours. So I'm going to set up my table. And I'm going to take some notes. They told me that x is the number of hours. So x represents hours. And y represents miles per hour. So I'm going to make those notes on my table so I know that what x and y mean. Now, we want to know after how many hours will the tropical storm reach 74 miles per hour? Will it become a hurricane? So let's think about this. Hours. I get to pick the x's. But think, can you have negative hours? Can we go back in time and have negative hours? No. So I am not going to pick any negative x's. I'm going to go with 0 hours, 1 hour, and 2 hours. So I need to solve this equation 3 times. So let's start with 0 hours. Let's start with 0 hours. So I'm going to substitute 0 for x and solve. So 2 times 0 is 0 plus 66, y equals 66. So at 0 hours, the winds are 66 miles per hour. I've solved it once. Let's solve it again. How many miles per hour will the winds be after 1 hour? Y equals 2. I'm substituting 1 for x plus 66. So y equals 2 times 1 is 2 plus 66. Y equals 68. So after 1 hour, the winds will be 68 miles per hour. So we've solved it twice. Let's solve it one more time. So let's go with 2 hours. So I'm going to substitute 2 for x. X equals 2 times 2 is 4 plus 66. Y equals 70. So y is 70. So what this is telling me is after 2 hours, the winds will be 70 miles per hour. So I have my 3 points. I can graph these guys. So here's my X, and we said X was hours. And here's my Y, and we said Y was miles per hour. So I have 0.66. I'm not going to do 66 marks up here. So this is 0. I'm going to start at 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76. And here's my hours. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. So at 0 hours, the winds are 66 miles per hour. At 1 hour, the winds are 68 miles per hour. At 2 hours, the winds are 70 miles per hour. So I'm going to use a straight edge. So now the question is asking us, when will the tropical storm become a hurricane? At what point will the winds be 74 miles per hour? Well, right here is 74 miles per hour. So I'm going to follow this out. And then this is where it comes down. So it's 74 miles per hour right here, the 4. So in 4 hours, the winds will be at 74 miles per hour. So we're using this graph to predict when the winds will be at 74 miles per hour. Here's 74. We draw that out, and where it crosses the graph, we can follow that down. 4 hours. So we are predicting that in 4 hours, the winds will be 74 miles per hour. Now, that's kind of a lot of work. They gave us the equation. We created the table. We labeled our X. We labeled our Y. We realized we cannot have negative hours. So we did not pick any negative X's. We found our 3 points. We graphed them. And then we used the graph to predict 74 miles per hour will be at 4 hours. Now, there is another way to do this. Somebody asked, well, what happens if 74 miles per hour? Well, can't we just put 74 for Y and solve for X? Yeah, you can. This graphing, sometimes it's hard to see exactly what you're looking for, so you kind of have to estimate it, but there is a way to find the exact amount. They gave us, so let's talk about exact. They gave us the equation y equals 2x plus 66. They told us y is miles per hour, and x is the number of hours, right? So this is miles per hour, and x is the number of hours. And now we want to know, after how many hours will the storm reach 74 miles per hour? So they're giving us 74 miles per hour. They're giving us 74 miles per hour. And miles per hour is y. Miles per hour is y. So can we substitute this 74 for y? Yeah, we can. 74 equals 2x plus 66. This is my miles per hour. They gave us miles per hour right here. I substituted it in. And we're looking for x, which is hours. So now we're solving for x. This is a basic equation. I'm going to use inverse operations. Need to isolate x. Still using inverse operations. Oh, x equals 4. What is x? Hours. So after 4 hours, the winds will be 74 miles per hour. So there's 2 ways to do this. We can set up a table, solve it 3 times, graph it, and use the graph to make our predictions. But sometimes if you don't have a graphing calculator, this is kind of hard because it's not exact, you're estimating. Or you can find out exactly how many hours by substituting. You have to understand what y is, and you have to understand what x is. And when you know what y represents and what x represents, then it's just a matter of substitution. Okay, we have 1 word problem on our homework, and I want to set that up with you. Here's the word problem. You have $100 in your savings account and plan to deposit $12.50 each month. Graph a linear equation that represents the balance in your account. How many months will it take you to save enough money to buy 10 acres of land on Mars? 10 acres is $175. So let's set this up. What they're asking us, they're telling us that the balance in our account is equal to $12.50 per month plus the $100 we've already had there. So can my balance be y equals $12.50 per month means times x plus 100. Is this an equation that you know how to work with? Yeah. Y is the balance. X is the number of months. So now we can set up our table. X is months. Here's my equation. It's going to give me Y, which is a balance. And here's my ordered pairs. Now think, can you have negative months? No, you can't have negative months. So I'm not going to pick any negatives here. I'm going to start with 0. And I'm probably going to go 2 months and then 4 months. That's going to give me my balances and my ordered pairs. Then when I graph this, my X, this is months, and my Y is the balance. So I'm going to graph my points, which is going to give me something that looks like this. And I need to know when my balance is at $175, I'm going to follow that out. Where it crosses my graph, I'll follow it down. How many months is that? How many months is it going to take me to have a balance of $175? Okay. So we've set up your homework problem.